All right, hello my loves. So today I am going to start a vlog of me reading the first chapters of some books that have been lingering on my TBR. Some of them are first of series, but a lot of them I picked up at the buy sell trade for $1. And so they kind of just came home with me to fill my shelves. All of them sounded good at the time that I picked them up. I don't ever pick up anything that I think is going to not be up my alley, except for humor. Sometimes I still try humor when it's $1. But I have a stack of books here. There are 10. Let's walk through them real quick. I have The Synapse Sequence by Daniel Godfrey. It says the page turning style of Crichton. It's like Philip K. Dick or Black Mirror. In future London, humans are watched over by AIs and served by bots, but now that justice and jobs are meted out by algorithm, inequality blooms and protest is brutally silenced. Anna Glover may be the most hated woman in the troubled city, the media's scapegoat for an unpopular war. Now she hides from the public eye, investigating neglected cases by using the mind-invading technology of the synapse sequencer to enter witnesses' memories. When a PI brings her a new high-stakes case, Anna seeks a chance for atonement. But soon she is drawn into a plot that threatens to upend her hard-won anonymity and put everyone in danger, even those she hopes to save. So this does sound up my alley. It definitely sounds good. This is a very beat-up copy of this book, but when you pay $1 for it, it's not a big deal. And I really think that I could like this. There's another series by this author. I think it's called New Pompeii or Sun on New Pompeii. I've never heard of this author before, but like I said, the synopsis sounded good, so I wanted to pick it up. And then we have Reincarnation Blues by Michael Poore. I've talked about this recently. This has humor, so I'm a little scared of it. But this challenge is to see if the writing styles work for me and if the humor is going to hit. It's a first chapters challenge, so I might not know within the first chapter, but I might. Probably one of the most popular books to hit this challenge. I'm going to start Wool by Hugh Howey. This is a very, very popular sci-fi series. If you've watched Silo, that is this book is what the show is based off of. And I have wanted to read this for a really long time. I know very little about it. I just know that it's insanely popular. And I've been told by quite a few people that I'm not going to like it. But I do have the whole series, so I want to give this a shot. Some of these I do own the entire series, and that's the reason that I want to at least pick them up, read a little bit, and see if they're going to work for me. Then I have Blood Ties by Pamela Freeman, book 1 of the Castings trilogy. Set in a world where ghosts walk among the living comes one of the most original, enchanting, and beautifully written epic fantasies of recent years. 1,000 years ago, the 11 domains were invaded, and the original inhabitants were driven onto the road as travelers belonging to nowhere, welcome to no one. Now the domains are governed with an iron fist by the warlords, but there are wilder elements in the landscape that cannot be controlled, and that may prove the warlords' undoing. Some are spirits of place, water and air, fire and earth. Some are greater than these, and some are human. So I've heard good things about this series whenever I said that I was going to read it, when I posted pictures of it, or whenever I book haul with it in it. And so this is another that I want to give a shot. The Conductors by Nicole Glover. This is a story about the Underground Railroad, and there is magic involved. That's really all I know, but this has been on my TBR for a really, really long time. Then we have House of Cards by C.E. Murphy. This is one that was recommended to me whenever I was asking for recommendations. I don't remember what the recommendation I asked for was, like what specifics I gave. It says, New York's only legal counsel to the fabled old races, Margaret Knight is level-headed in all matters extraordinary, but when she's summoned to negotiate a peace treaty among rival factions, her own mortal world threatens to fall apart. Margaret has been in hot water before, but re-entering the underworld brings a new set of problems, and a new set of friends and enemies, including a ruthless vampire mobster, a dragon lord who won't take no for an answer, a band of subversive Selkies, and Alban Corland, the sexy gargoyle who got her into this mess, and whose granite strong touch still haunts her every fantasy. So maybe this is a fantasy romance before fantasy romance became super popular. I'm not sure, but this was recommended to me and I picked up the entire trilogy, so hopefully I do like it. And then this one sounded good to me at the time, The Silver Wind by Nina Allen. A powerful tale of time travel, time lost, time regained, and time disrupted. In this remarkable narrative, watches and clocks become time machines, vehicles to explore alternate realities, the unreliability of memory, and roads not taken. It sounded like it could be interesting. I have not read very many time travel books. It's not something that like grabs my attention. It's not a buzzword for me. And so I picked it up thinking I should try some more time travel, and the cover is really pretty. So you guys know I'm a sucker for a pretty cover. And then one of my friend's favorite books. I have a feeling this might not be for me because it is Unlondon by China Melville. Unlondon. And I know that this is funny, and it's kind of a take on Alice in Wonderland, so I don't know what to think about it other than let's just pick it up and read it and see if I'm going to like it. I do believe this is a middle grade, so it could be fun. Who knows? And then one that I have seen very mixed reviews on, so I'm not really sure what to think about it, but that is the Bromance Book Club. Again, lingered on the TBR for forever. It's not in the greatest shape. But I've heard this is funny, I've heard it's enchanting, and then I've heard the opposite, that it's not funny, it's kind of stupid, it's ridiculous, and there's no point in reading it. So I want to kind of get into it, make my own decisions. Of course, some of these I'm just going to keep on the TBR. I'm not going to just tackle them fully in this vlog. But I want to talk through them and get excited for them again if they work for me. And last, I picked up this trilogy. I thought it sounded really good. This is not the type of fantasy that I read anymore, but I do think it has a chance of like hitting that mark that I'm looking for. I love Anthony Ryan. I love John Gwynne. And so I picked this up on that basis, but it is Winterbirth by Brian Ruckley. In a world of ice and a world of blood, it is a godless world. Or it is a world of blood, it is a world of ice. Whatever. You guys can read it right there. My brain doesn't want to work, apparently. The greatest tales are written in blood, and an uneasy truce exists between the Thanes of the True Bloods. Now, as another winter approaches, the armies of the Black Road march south from their exile beyond the Veil of Stones. For some, war will bring a swift and violent death. Others will not hear the clash of swords or see the corpses strewn over the fields. They will see an opportunity to advance their own ambitions, but all soon will fall under the shadow that is descending. So, like I said, this has kind of a Game of Thrones, Anthony Ryan, John Gwynne kind of feel to it, and I think I could like it, but I haven't picked up a fantasy like that in years, and so we'll see. It is one I am going to, like I said, all of these I'm going to read the first chapters of them and kind of check back in with you guys as I do this. I don't know how many I will get through tonight, but I will let you know, and I don't know how long this vlog will take, but we'll see. It could take me a little bit to get through the first chapters of these books. Okay, our first book is down. I read the first 2 chapters of this. I had to read 2 because there's 2 POVs in this, and it is a married couple who are currently fighting and talking about getting divorced, and we have kind of been introduced to these guys who are on his team because he plays baseball, and the 2 guys have told him they have a solution to his problem and his wife wanting a divorce and all of that stuff. We, as the reader, definitely know what that's going to be. The title of the book is The Bromance Book Club, so we know where this is going. But I had to get both POVs. I have to say, what people have said about the writing is true. It's not great. And I can't even say that it's fan fiction-y like an Ali Hazelwood. That's not it. It's not good, but it's intriguing. Like, the story is intriguing. And so I do think I will keep this on the TBR. Next, I'm going to pick up the Synapse Sequence, give it a shot, see what I think, and I will return. Okay, my friends, we have stepped up our game. I have made popcorn. I make peppered popcorn, if you guys are interested in knowing what it is I'm eating. I didn't mean to bump the mic, sorry. So I have read the first chapter of the Synapse Sequence. This is going to go onto a maybe pile. I didn't love the writing, and while the first, like the prologue was gripping, and I think that the first chapter was interesting, like I said, I didn't love the writing. And so this is probably going to go into a read or toss vlog at a later date, but right now it's not gripping me. And I have to tell you, one of my friends has recommended that I add one to the stacks, and so I am adding The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker. This has been on my TBR for quite some time. I am a dark fantasy reader. I do love dark fantasy, so I have put this on the back burner though, because I know it's highly philosophical, and while that is something that I do tend to like, I'm not sure how much I'm going to like this. First I thought it was annotated, but then I realized that's just part of the book. So I am going to at least read the prologue of this. Let me see how long it is. Yeah, the prologue is quite long, so it should tell me it's 30 pages. So it should tell me whether or not I'm going to like this book. I'm not going to read this next. I am actually going to start Reincarnation Blues next, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I am adding this to the stack. Okay, another one down, Reincarnation Blues. This first chapter was so intriguing. I definitely think I'm going to add this to my TBR for next month because I think I'm really going to enjoy this. The first chapter, it's a little weird because we have a guy who is considered a wise man. He is helping people. He has a dog, you know, all these things. But it tells you in the very beginning of the chapter, he's going to get eaten by a shark. That's how his life, this cycle, is going to end. But he also tells you that he's lived almost 10,000 lives and all of that stuff. And that's why he's considered a wise man. Very, very intriguing. So I'm looking forward to reading this some more. Very much like Matt Haig style writing. I haven't seen it be humorous quite yet. Like there's a little bit of cheek to some of the things that is said, but I don't think it is like super funny. This said Douglas Adams and it made me kind of scared. But I do think I am going to like add this to either next month's TBR or put it on the spinner wheel or something because I'm enjoying this. Like I said, I'm holding off on this one till tomorrow because it's 30 pages long. I am going to go next into House of Cards by C.E. Murphy. This is kind of typical of what I would read back in the day whenever I was in my 20s and stuff like that. So I'm hoping this is kind of like a throwback to that era for me. I'm hoping that I enjoy it. I do think this is going to be a little off base for what I have been reading lately, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. All right, good morning. So last night I did read 3 more first chapters before going to bed, but my dog took over my lap. And so I just wanted to come back to you this morning and talk about them. I do believe what I was reading was House of Cards. And I have to say, I don't know how I feel about this one. I did have to read a few chapters of this, not just the first one, because it didn't give me an idea of what we were dealing with up until like the 3rd chapter. And so I am going to put this on my reader toss pile. Like I'm going to have to delve into this one a little bit more before I can decide. But then I went to The Silver Wind by Nina Allen, and I have to say I was fighting sleep to get through the first chapter of this book. I don't really know why. It was a little boring to me, and if I'm fighting sleep when I'm excited about a project, that tells me that this is not going to be for me. So I will be unhauling this one. You know, and at one point I was like, okay, maybe I'm just too tired and I need to stop. But then I picked up this, The Conductors by Nicole Glover. I was loving this. I would have stayed up and read more of this, but I am doing a first chapters challenge. So I am trying to stick with first chapters and not pick up a book and continue reading it for this particular project. But this is going to be added to my needs to be added to the TBR soon pile. Let's see, what do we have? And I probably inserted a little clip of my newest obsession, the cookie dough creamer from Chobani. Oh, so good. Okay. These are the ones I have left. I think Unlondone is where I'm going to start. Give myself an easy start to the morning, and then I will move on to the other ones. I'm really excited about adding the R. Scott Baker, but I was not excited about a 30-page first chapter for that late at night. Well, let's get the first chapter of this read and see what we think. I said before, I believe Unlondone by China Melville is a middle grade. And so I had to read 3 chapters, and that was 15 pages. So I don't know. This is not pulling me in very much. The writing is not pulling me in. The story is not pulling me in. I am very interested in a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. So I do think I'm going to put this on my read or toss stack. That way I can get a little further into this and decide if I like it or not. But the 3 chapters I read wasn't enough to tell me something exciting, scary, happens at the very beginning of this. So it could be interesting. I don't know. There are some pretty cute illustrations in this so far. And I say cute. Some of them are a little weird, but like, there you go. So I don't know. I haven't been interested in middle grade lately, but this is one I picked up because it was an Alice in Wonderland retelling. And so I'll give this a little while before I decide and put it on my reader toss. That way I can get to it at a later date. So I'm just going to go in order of what my stack is currently. Now I'm going to start with Wool, Blood Ties, The Darkness That Comes Before, and then Winter Birth. I think I might change my mind. Who knows? But we'll see. Let's see what I think of this one. Okay. Here is where I have to admit, some people can do more in 7 pages than others can do in 30. So I really, really enjoyed the start of this. I don't know why I put it off for so long. I know a lot of people had told me I'm not going to like this, that it's kind of slow. But that beginning chapter was pretty darn good. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm going to add it to the pile of get to this soon. And it might even make it to my list of series I want to read. Of course, I just did a series that I want to read in the next couple years, but maybe this is going to be added to that list. All right, let's go to Blood Ties. This is one I picked up on a whim, like I said, at the buy sell trade. I never heard of it, but reading the back, it sounded really good. And then of course the Borders stickers always get me because I worked at Borders. I loved working at Borders. And so maybe I picked that up for nostalgic reasons. I don't know. But it sounded good, so I wanted to give it a try. I do like female authors more than male authors a good majority of the time. So let's see how this one goes. Hopefully it's as surprising as Wool was. All right, Blood Ties by Pamela Freeman. I think I'm going to let this one go. I did find some bits of it interesting, but there was too much patriarchy, a little too much stuff like that I just didn't care for. And I didn't really like the characters that were introduced in this. So now necromancy is introduced. That is usually a big buzzword for me, but I just couldn't get into it. And so I'm gonna let this one go. All right, it is time. Let's read the first chapter of The Darkness That Comes Before, or the prologue at least. This 30-page prologue. See how we do. Okay, I am going to keep this one. I'm going to hold on to it, but I am going to do the reader toss with this one because I have read quite a bit, but I was having problems kind of staying awake. I'm not sure why. I think it was making me lull a little bit because of the writing, but we'll see. I'm going to do this is going to be a reader toss as well. I did kind of like it though, so I'm hopeful with it, but I do think I'm going to add it to the reader toss stack. That does leave us with one more, Winter Birth by Brian Ruckley. And let's just see what we think of this one now. All right, that was promising. I think I'm going to add that to the stack of books that I'm going to give a shot in the near future. So let's just go ahead and talk through them a little bit. I am going to go ahead and unhaul The Silver Wind and Blood Ties. This one I thought was intriguing, but it's so similar to things that I have read before. And then, you know, there were certain things about it that I don't care to read anymore. The way that women are treated in fantasy worlds and, you know, written by a woman, I just didn't care to read that. And then this one kind of put me to sleep. So I'm just going to go ahead and unhaul these two. All right, I guess I got caught on the cord there. And then for ones that I'm going to add to a read or unhaul vlog, these 4 I do think had promise, but I'm still not 100% sure that they are for me. So we have The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker, Unlondon by China Melville, House of Cards by C.E. Murphy, and The Synapse Sequence by Daniel Godfrey. Again, I think they could be for me, but I don't think the few chapters that I read from them was enough to give me a good idea of what it was like to settle into those. And then I had 5 from this that were, I need to continue. So here are those 5. We have Wool by Hugh Howey, The Conductors by Nicole Glover. Reincarnation Blues by Michael Poore. The Bromance Book Club, which totally just does not fit in with the rest of these books, but I think I just enjoyed the way that these characters were introduced. So, I mean, writing was not great, but still, I think I could enjoy it. And then we have Winter Birth. I do think that I could really like this. The way this started had such promise. It reminded me again of stories that I really love, like Malice and Bloodsong, those types of stories, Game of Thrones, which, you know, you guys know I don't like George R. R. Martin's writing, but I do like the story. And so I'm very, very intrigued. 5 out of 11, that's a win. That is half. Well, it would have been half had I hadn't added the darkness that comes before. But I'm pretty pumped about that. I'm pretty excited about how this experiment went. I do want to keep doing these. I probably won't do them like every month or anything like that, but it's a good way to knock books off of my TBR. It's a good way to add books to my TBR that I'm really interested in. And there's a couple of these that the first few chapters, or the first chapter, was very exciting. Sometimes I had to read multiple chapters of some of these because of how they're written. But yeah, very, very promising. All right, that's it for my video today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I'll see you guys in my next video.